Welcome back everyone. You're watching the training week from September 1st, where the weekly focus was upping my game in that Azerian strength, and of course with 3 weeks to go before nationals, routines are the focus. Some highlights: broke the 8 kilo record, tried 9 on Tuesday, didn't quite get it, but got it on the Saturday. And I had to scramble to find some highlights. There honestly wasn't too much this week. It was another tough week, but you'll see me bounce back. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Misha, and here I share my love for gymnastics. You can watch every single turn I take on the equipment in the last 4 or 5 years. And as much as it is about me flaunting my skill and showing off, what I accomplish in the gym, over the years it's also become a sharing to those that might be, struggling on the path a little bit, or curious what it's like to train gymnastics at a senior level. And I know that there will be at least some that will get some value from seeing someone plowing through it and struggling through it day in and day out. So on the Monday, I found a way that I can get some more giant diami reps as a third skill without really having to do the Honma, and I can just simply do a back press to handstand just like that to replicate the Honma skill, the front pike from upper arm. Honma, since I was a teen, has always kind of been like a 1 rep max skill for me. I've never been able to do it like explosively, catching with locked arms every single day, because it's never been a priority for me. I try to train more of the peaches and the giants and put my precision there. So I'm only able to catch a Honma well kind of on a on a performance day, like a routine day. So getting a simple back uprise in, kind of preparing me for routine the next day. That's kind of a similar technique, but most importantly, it allows me to train that giant diami as a third skill after the half turn, which is the difficult part, which is the difficulty. As you've been watching for the last few years, by itself, the giant diami has been pretty solid. Sometimes I'm catching in like a pitch perfect handstand. Sometimes I'm doing it with my legs glued together, but in a sequence, it's completely different, much harder. Now, the 9 circles I was talking about in the weekly highlights, I think, were up high on another day. And slowly trying to learn how to do a scissors with minimal closure of the hips. We found out at Auckland Manukau Champs, where I yeeted the all around, that if your hips bend more than 90 degrees, well, that's no pay. No pay. Meaning you don't even get the scissor requirement. So unless you have another scissor, you're going to lose out on the difficulty of the skill, and you're going to lose the requirement, the scissor compulsory requirement. Woohoo, that was fingertip. I probably almost peeled off there. Now I've kind of gone back and I've started using my old grips a bit more for these releases, because I just can't get comfy with the new ones. I even purchased a pair of Sport grips. So as many of you know, there's the 2 main brands of grips that gymnasts will order is the Sport grips from Germany with the green strap, and then there's the Sport. Funny enough, they have a similar name, wonder why. And Sport has the red strap. So I got the size 3 Sport because I tend to like the longer grips, but it was a bit long. Like, I can use it straight away, but I can tell that it is a little bit long, because likely it's gonna stretch with use. So I'm gonna just reserve those grips for like just dismounts, or just an extra pair of backups in case I ever just need to use something right away. But there's some advice if you're ever debating on switching up your brands. Sport sizing should be one less than the Rifle Sport. So if you're wearing size 3s in Rifle Sport, size 2 Rice Sport will likely be the best fit. So I learned that lesson. Alright, so we got through all the way from the Coleman. Not the most consistent pagans lately. Stoop halves are slowly climbing, and boy oh boy, you're gonna see a hell of a stoop half next week. OMG, I did something that you don't see very often. I'll look forward to sharing that next week. Slowly maintaining the double doubles. Now where are we? Are we on Tuesday? Alright, still a bit of a wonky core, and there is a little bit of a leg separation on the giant Diami. Man, it's hard to get rid of it. So hard to get rid of a foot separation or a knee separation right on the initiation of the twist during the giant Diami. So the car's feeling better though. This day I dismounted onto a crash, and then as time went on I've just started going on a 10 centimeter, so I'm pretty much back in action. Let's see how it went. So I've cleaned up a bit of knees and toes there, but you know, catching with bent arms is obviously an issue. So if we're going after the perfect Honda, we're gonna need a bit more surplus, a bit more juice to get the elbows locked on the catch. But that was some of my best work. That was some of my cleanest work for sure. A little struggle there, and a hand shuffle. Doing my best to focus on these hand shuffles and get rid of them completely. And one area is right after the reverse turn. I don't have the most flexible wrists, so you know, this first left hand right there, you see that shuffle? It's because I didn't quite turn my wrist all the way, so I had to readjust my hand. Got to turn it all the way to under grip, like a front giant grip on high bar. But a decent routine besides that massive step on the dismount. In terms of on the bar, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, that was a bit more cleaner, but I guarantee if you like slow down or pause the moment where I initiate the twist, you'll still see a little separation in my knees, and I'm sure the judges will pick up on that and smash me with a 0.1. Alright, I must be gassed out. Ugh, collapse. Collapse. Working a bit of pommel and a bit of rings on the side. Actually haven't swung rings in a long time, and I did a little sequence on Saturday, but at this stage I've just locked in P-bar and high bar. I'm gonna do my best to commit to the 4 release high bar routine. I think P-bar is obvious, the routine that I'm gonna do, just that new construction. I mean, I'm open to maybe trying like either pommel or rings if depending on how it feels, but really, as you can tell, I'm not very prepared. Like, I'm saluting the routine, but not saluting it in the, oh, that was a bit of a hip angle. Did you notice, fam? Not as much pike on the way up there. So surely that's a paid scissor handstand. Yeah, so I'm not really saluting with the thought of trying to get this routine ready for natties, but more of you know, just to have it locked in for the future. You know, I'm not really don't think I'm ever gonna add anything to the set, so if it can turn into something that I can just do on demand without having to stress about it too much, that'll be ideal. So I can do all the skills quite easily by itself, so the next logical step is to, you know, just get that routine on lock. So I think here's the 7 kgs. 7, you know, is kind of like my top. This is 8. I think I've done 8 once before, and then this was attempt number 1 at 9 kilos. Not quite with the 9 kilos. Shot up nice and high, but that leg separation, fam. Alright, so this is a wee Friday. So the gym was packed with an event on Thursday, so didn't train on Thursday. I think we had a big, may have been the Champ of Champs event. It's a big schools competition. And I'm getting a bit confused with that Pagan tap is starting to enter the Gaylord tap. And you might think, well, what are you talking about? Pagan tap and Gaylord tap is exactly the same tap. In a way it is, but how much speed you put into it matters. And since a long time ago, I've been doing a very slow and chill giant into my Pike Gaylord, you know, maybe 60-70% into that first giant. But Pagan, I do it pretty much 90 to 100%. So what happens is you do the same tap, but the speed of the giant is faster than usual. And we're talking specifically about the Pike Gaylord. And that, fam, was a one-handed catch. That was a one-handed catch. And that's right, this day, remember, I just could not commit to doing the Coleman. I just felt a little bit off, a little bit nervous, and you can just tell I'm not committing to reaching with that second hand. So I trusted my instincts and didn't push it too hard. Moved on to P-bar. But yeah, so it can get a bit confusing when you have two different speeds for the same tap. And that was a point of focus for me when I was competing Casino and Coleman in the same routine. Casino would be a 100% effort tap for me, but Coleman, much like the Pike Gaylord, was maybe a 70%. So tricky area. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think that I have thrown any spazzers this year. But today, fam, nothing was going my way. Absolutely nothing. Not on high bar, not on P bar. Stubborn fingers. Not getting anything done. So I do remember I had to go and throw a spaz. Had to go and throw a tanty. We're not going to hide nothing, fam. We're not going to hide it. So already I'm a bit triggered there. You can tell by the jump I'm a bit triggered. Nothing's going my way. Hey, but that's part of the love for the sport. When you don't have days like this, you don't really appreciate the other days, and I had to do it. There you go, fam. Is that spaz number 1 of 2025? Apologies, not a good example. Not a good example to show the next generation, but I want to keep the truth in these videos. And the truth is that even at 34, fam, look at that. Every now and then, the emotions come. The emotions, the frustrations, they come, and every now and then I'll let loose. But that's my way of coping with it. It's kind of a funny way. Everybody has their own ways. So Saturday, I really wanted to hit this 9 kilo, and so I did. Boom, this is 9 kilo. I decided to start with it because I know that after high bar, I do a lot of high bar, my shoulders just get fried, and no problem with the 9 kgs right at the start of the sesh. So who knows, fam? Do we push it to a 10 kg? I don't know. Maybe push it to a 10 kg. Maybe just do it already, pick a day and just make it happen. I don't know. For now though, gotta make sure that P-bar and high bar is at the forefront. Those are my priorities. And get these knees locked. Get these knees locked. Man, I like the change. I like the change in that technique. Maintaining the double doubles. And that's it, fam. Short sesh, short week. Didn't do too much. And you'll see me back at it next time. Oop, lost the mic. Thanks for watching. All the best till next time. Much appreciation to all supporters and patrons. Later.